I was never kind of suicidal or anything like that. So I'm sure there are cases where antidepressants are necessary and very useful.
Absolutely. No one is disputing that. In fact, the phrase used in the report is mild depression or less severe depression.
For me, it was I wanted to avoid medication if I could help it at all. So I turned to all kinds of things, including therapy, but, changing my nutrition, hydrating, exercising, meditating. I'd still do all of those things. But to get to the point, really, about why I think therapy works, it's quite hard to describe.
Isn't it?
So
yeah.
I think there's something different about hearing yourself say the words that are in your head, and then when they leave your mouth and you hear them with your ears, it's almost like hearing somebody else say it, or you hearing a friend talking to you. So you can appraise what you're saying in the way that you might hear a friend speaking to you. It just sounds very different to what you think in your head, even though it's the same words and the sentences are the same. Actually saying it and then hearing it with your ears rather than just hearing it in the ears of your mind really helps me to kind of unravel that ball of yarn that's been tangling. So now I'm
really well put. That's really beautifully put.
It's very hard to describe.
It is, though, but you've done a pretty good job.
Thank you. I think I'm healthier now, mentally, much more stable, but I still go to therapy just once a month now rather than once a week, because I say to people regularly, I've been asked by my workplace to be what we call a mental health first aider. So it's kind of, the first port call for somebody that's having similar problems. And in those meetings that we have around that subject, I often say I think that therapy is useful even for the healthiest of individuals.
I'm certain of it. I mean, it improves. It helps people who are in the doldrums, but it improves people who are not.
Yeah. So on that basis, I think everybody should, if you can afford it. I think it's
I'm glad you've said that. That's something that I've omitted from the conversation so far. And if that is to be available on the NHS, it becomes a less urgent issue. But of course, at the moment, there would need to be an awful lot of investment and expenditure put into to making it available on the NHS. Although I don't know how it compares to antidepressants. I presume they're cheaper, which is part of the reason why they've been the preferred option for so long. Did you? And don't answer this if you don't want to. But did you? Yeah. As the last caller did, and as I did you stumble across something quite unexpected at the root of some of your unhappiness that therapy allowed you to articulate, or was it a more general experience?
So this is kind of ties into the thing about changing your mind about such things. If I'm honest, I won't go into it for obvious reasons, but I knew what the root of my problems was, and I was just unable to solve it. So it's circumstantial rather than kind of medical or hormonal or something like that.
Yes.
But I was always quite cynical seeing, employers encouraging their employees to meditate or do yoga at work, that kind of thing. And I'd say, well, if these people were treated better at work, maybe they wouldn't be so depressed. And you're treating the symptoms rather than the cause. But the fact is, you need to be able to treat the symptoms to be able to treat the causes. So what it allowed me to do was, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but it's, if my house is flooding and I can't get to the source of the flood because I've got no waterproof gear or something, giving me the waterproof gear to get there is a step in the right direction. So I think in my case, where it's a circumstantial thing, therapy gave me the tools to clear that mind fog and then be able to address the root of my problem rather than cynically looking at it and saying, well, it's not solving the cause, is it?
Or strapping on new layers of the armour of self-denial, strapping on, new layers of the well, I can tough my way through this, because that's the thing that I did.
Oh, absolutely. And equally, I think I was naive enough to think that I could think my way out of the problem.
Same. I could argue my way out of it, mate. That was my problem.
Reason your way out of it.
Yes, exactly.
Often you can't. So.
And other people. I ended up thinking I could argue other people out of their own problems, and that's when things got really messy.